You see, now what we're describing when we talk about Mahavishnu to Garbhodakesha Vishnu, this is how the Lord is actually creating this world. As I was citing Srila Prabhupada, that our thinking, feeling, willing is coming from the Lord's thinking, feeling, willing. Of course, His is pure. Even when He's dealing with the material energy in this work of creation. There's no question of any contamination of His consciousness. But we are under the modes. So anyway, this next stage of Linga Sharira, the subtle body, where desires become manifest as thoughts. So this is in relation to Garbhodakesha Vishnu. And then finally the willing stage. So Lord Brahma, you see, at a mature stage of the manifestation of Garbhodakesha Vishnu, then the lotus grows up and opens, and there's Brahma. And what does Brahma do? You see, when you study this in the Bhagavatam, you see that what all Brahma is doing in his work of creation is giving gross form to the subtle form of things conceived in the mind of the Lord. So this is the stage of going from thinking, feeling, and then willing. So as these bodies are being created for the jivas who now want to act on their desires, to help them, the Lord expands again as Chirodakshay Vishnu, Super Soul Vishnu. And He enters the hearts of all these bodies, and He gives them guidance from within. And so this acting, this is like the waking stage, this active stage. Because this is also, this progression is deep sleep, dreaming, and wakefulness. So this is all coming, each stage is coming under the authority of one of the expansions, the Purusha avatar expansions. So this is a very excellent lesson in psychology for each one of us individually. Because every 24 hours we're going through these three stages. Actually, even these three stages are mixed up. Like this unconsciousness. We're even unconscious when we're awake. You know, like you set something down. Everyone has this experience. You have something in your hand that you were using, and then you set it down and you do something else. You answer a phone or something. And then you want to go back to what you were doing before. And you can't find that thing that you had in your hand, a writing pen or something. Everyone has had this experience. And you look around, where is it? Wow. Then you go down on your hands and knees under the table, you're lifting up the rug. You're looking in the waste paper basket. You're going outside of your room asking people, did you see my pen? Then another Prabhu comes back, oh, you lost your pen, your nice pen, the one your mother gave you, the silver one. I can't find it. So he goes back with you to your desk and he looks on the desk. Well, it's right there. And you go, oh, yeah. My goodness. So you see, that's also a manifestation of susupti. While we're awake. So we're always dealing with this, even in a waking state, with unconsciousness and dream state too. You see? Yeah. Also the dream state. Sometimes, I've had this experience myself. Once in Mayapur, I was getting up. It was time to get up in the morning, 2:45, something like that. And where I was taking rest, someone walked in. Actually, it turned out to be Krishna Kshetra Prabhu. And he walked in, this was in the Mayapur Gurukul, so this dark hut. He walked in through the door, walked all around the room, and walked out. I had just opened my eyes from sleep and I saw this. I saw him, and it was so dark I didn't see exactly, I didn't know who it was really. And he had just shaved his head too, so it looked kind of strange. I couldn't see his sika, so I was, maybe it's a completely bald-headed person. Anyway, he walked in, went around, and walked out. And I was just laying there, and I was wondering, am I awake or am I asleep? Was that a dream, or... Did I really see that? And then later, a few hours later, I had a chance. I wasn't even sure it was him. I didn't know it was him, actually. And I happened was talking with him, and I mentioned, I think I had a strange dream this morning. Some bald-headed person was walking around me. And he laughed and he said, "Oh, that was me." So like that, even when we're awake, we're still dealing with dreaming and deep sleep. So, but anyway, it's good to understand the relationship of these states of consciousness with these Purusha forms of the Lord. See, Krishna consciousness means to see the connection of everything to the Lord. So deep sleep, dream, wakefulness, each is under the authority of this. We were telling the other day, Chaturvyuha, 4 forms. Mm-hmm. All right, we have just a couple minutes left. Yes?
How are these positive spiritual emotions influenced by the 6 loving exchanges between devotees?
Yeah, well, as Rupa Goswami says, love is manifest in these 6 exchanges. And we were hearing that all healthy emotions, then they culminate in love. Healthy emotion means that they point to love. And the unhealthy emotions point away from love. Cultivate healthy emotional state by these 6 ways of exchange.
kultivujeme zdravý emocionálny stav.
Yes?
Činnost jako taková vychází z toho myšlení, potom cítění a teprve potom jednání jako takové. A říká se také někdy, že existuje takzvaná bezmyšlenkovitá činnost, anebo že je někdo mindfulness. Jestli to mohu vysvětlit.
Usually activity is a result of thinking and feeling and willing, but sometimes we speak about absent-mindedness or just acting without mind being involved, thoughtless activities.
Well, I think that in activity there's always thought.
Myslím, že v každé činnosti je myšlenka.
But it can be stupid thinking. Like Srila Prabhupada in Melbourne, Australia, he was hosting some guests in his room. And on the desk in front of him, the devotees had provided for his drinking glass a goblet, you know, this fancy glass. It's what you call a wine glass. I mean, this rounded cup with a glass stem and a base. And the devotees had placed it upside down on his desk. So some authorities sent one bhakta into Prabhupada's room with a pitcher of water to fill his drinking cup. And Prabhupada was in the middle of conversation with some important people. And this bhakta was obviously a simple sort of person, so he had never seen this type of goblet glass before. And apparently he thought that it was just a kind of drinking glass with a long neck and some thing on top that you sip out of. So he just poured the water on the upside down glass. And of course it splashed all over Prabhupada's desk. And Srila Prabhupada was, in the middle of some, preaching to someone, and then he looked and he saw this. But Prabhupada was most expert, so he just saved the situation by giving everyone a big smile and saying, misdirected intelligence. So, that is also kind of intelligence. To look at such a thing and speculate, must have a long neck and the water goes in through this. That's a kind of intelligence to figure that out. But it's upside down intelligence. Or as Prabhupada said, misdirected. So I think all activity, what we call foolish or thoughtless activity, there is thought behind it, but it's just reversed, distorted. It usually, actually, but it's a good point just to look closely at this. Often what looks like thoughtless activity, it's that we're thinking that we understand it. We understand the situation. You see? And therefore we don't think about it very deeply. Because we think we know what's going on. We've seen this so many times and we know. But what has actually happened is something has changed. And if we had bothered to look more closely, we would have noticed that. So we go on acting but on a wrong assumption. And there's so many examples of this. Like when, in the early days, when that big man from the United Nations was coming to visit Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada was spending the whole morning cooking a big feast to welcome him. And he told this very young disciple named Sriyadis, who was only 15 years old, to sit at the bottom of the stairs coming up to Prabhupada's apartment and don't let anyone in. So Sriyadis was doing that, no one should disturb Prabhupada. But then that man himself came. And he was, I'm here to see Swami Prabhupada, or Swami Bhaktivedanta as he was known then. And Sriyadis said, oh, no one can see Swamiji. No, yes, but I have an appointment with him right now. I'm sorry, no one can see him. So he waited for 10 minutes and then he left. And then when Prabhupada came to know with this, of course he was very disturbed. So you can see in this that Sriyadis wasn't acting thoughtlessly exactly, but he just understood everything backwards. Alright, so it's now after 12. Time's up. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Suhotra Swami ki jai.